Dmitry had an interview for a senior data engineer position with a hiring manager. Have a nice time watching. Tell me about yourself and what caught your eye about this role.
I'm Dmitry, based in Vancouver, BC, Canada for last 10 years, where I was working as a data engineer. And before I moved from Russia to Canada, I also was working with data. Here I used to work 5 years with Amazon. I worked 3 different teams. 2 of them were like e-commerce. The first was like traditional e-commerce. Then I moved to devices team with Alexa, with research team. And then I moved to again, like e-commerce, but we work with the team who built the attribution models for homepage of Amazon and like the particular project for customer behavior, trying to collect score response from customers in real time from 1 to 5, and then trying to leverage these as additional features in their like attribution models and computational. Primary goal was bringing the data for feature engineering, and whatever machine learning team need, I build them, prepare, and then they can try is it good enough or not. If not, I will bring more data, new features, new data sources, and also a bit of like data warehousing and BI reporting. And then I worked in Microsoft Gaming, where I built the platform for one of the studio, because Microsoft Gaming has different studios, and I was part of one of them. I've brought Databricks. It was new technology, and the idea was to migrate legacy Hadoop and Hive bit of Microsoft services into something new, and I leveraged the Delta Lake approach as a lakehouse, unified all together, and then work close with analysts and data scientists. They can leverage this data and do the analysis. We did a bit of MLflow on Databricks, more as a POC. And then after Microsoft, I joined like more like consulting company, where I doing data engineering work and either work with Databricks, Snowflake, this modern data stack, consolidate the data together. One of the company working is US startup, also e-commerce, a bunch of different integrations with different marketing sources, all right back to the marketing programs, because we have lots of affiliate things, lots of data integrations, and on Snowflake and dbt. That's about my experience.
Did you get exposed to GCP in the consulting company?
Not this project, but my previous project. I work with a fintech startup. They building API for trading, I think Alpaca Markets. We're building their data platform on open source using GCP and Trino Iceberg Lakehouse. We didn't build anything related to data science, machine learning. It's more like just collecting a bunch of data points together into a single platform, because there's a fintech startups, they have lots of requirements to either reconciliation or some compliance reporting or market makers data, like about everything they need. So pulling all together, and we use the Trino on top of GCP. All hosted on Kubernetes cluster and like Docker environments. So Metabase as a BI, Airflow for orchestration, dbt for transformation.
How do you approach DataObs, data pipelines? How do you make sure that it is resilient, that schedule is consistent, and data quality is on level?
What I like dbt for is the built-in framework for data quality. What I'm using is adding pre-commits for dbt projects, that using external repos to check that every model has the description and has the minimum tests, unique key, not null. At least this will help us to avoid any duplicates, especially in the complexity of the logic. And we don't want any duplicates on the sales dashboard, for example. Then again, dbt gives us opportunity to use fresh sourceness. It's basically what in the past we could build by ourselves manually. Then we're talking about data quality, or what I had to build in Apache Spark myself, all those tests and different checks and assertion of the data and freshness, just writing manually Python or using the DQ library for Spark. So in dbt, it's out of the box, and for some advanced cases, I'm using Great Expectations library. So it's again built in dbt package. For me, it's, the bare minimum is the source freshness and those tests not nulls. And we can add extra things related to business domain, for example, accepted values, a certain range. But usually challenge with these, for me as a data engineer, it's hard to tell you what range is acceptable for this particular metric. It's the collaborative work. We have the problem with this, then we can work together with the business stakeholders to understand sometimes what we're doing in terms of delivery, because we had one project where we sell the data to external company, and the data, they were really picky about the quality of the data. So we had to build a bunch of metrics and the dashboards and alerts on top of these. So for example, we comparing average number of users, unique users, and data points per day, and compare this value with 4 weeks average. And then we have accepted bands, and like if you break this threshold, you get the alert. And we've got lots of false positive things about this, but it's very challenging when we're talking about some business metrics and how to make them truly accurate.
Have you ever heard about a Monte Carlo tool?
Usually use it with Snowflake projects. I think it works with BigQuery, anything, but the nice thing about this service that they have these monitors, and they out of the box they start tracking your table. It will track schema change, they will track the daily increments, and if it collects a bunch of data. So I like this product because it take care for many things for you. And once we had example with Monte Carlo on Snowflake and dbt, all tests pass, everything succeeded, except Monte Carlo told us this table didn't get refreshed, and it was Salesforce source with accounts, and it means we didn't sync fresh data from Salesforce, but all tests passed, and it was very critical mistake, and only Monte Carlo spotted. Couple benefits for me: it has great integration with Slack, so you have the channel with alerts, but inside the Slack you can assign the person who like doing analysis, and then you mark it as a resolve or in process or in research, like this nice. And also it has integration with dbt, so instead of going to Monte Carlo, you can have just YAML files inside dbt, and they will take care for the monitors.
Explain to me how you deal with cicd. What is your practice with PR?
For me, this is usually my advantage. Whenever I join a new team, the first thing I'm document from top to bottom, from starting from the dashboards, like transformations, models, any lineage, whatever. But the next thing, I start documenting the development lifecycle. For example, dbt is great in the way that it's usually storing in the repo, and then usually you have to set up it in the way you have your development environment, and then you have some agreement how you do development, like create the branch, you do the pull request, you code reviews, and then what is the pull request template itself, right? Best practices available, and I trying to do this really well. That's my strong area. Whatever projects I'm starting working, especially it's related with dbt or infrastructure as a code, something I always looking, okay, how we want to do the continuous integration, continuous deployment. And if we talk particular example for dbt, we're starting locally with pre-commit. So just make sure we have all links. And for example, for dbt, I'm using SQLFluff as a package to code linting and just checking everything. This will help agree amongst the team that everyone has like similar style for the SQL. And then, those pre-commit things like dbt checkpoints that gonna enforce that the quality of dbt models and tests are there. And then we create pull request. The first continuous integrations step is actually run the pre-commit in, for example, GitHub Action or whatever we tool use, just to make sure someone not skip the pre-commit locally. And then the nice thing about dbt again, you can run your dbt models in a CI process, because dbt containerize, runs in container. So I can run dbt from CI and build the models in staging environment and just see the impact and then run the test. Basically prevent the deployment if the model has the problem. And one thing we did with dbt in the past is blue-green deployment, but only on Snowflake, because in Snowflake we have the clone feature. It means before deploy, If everything passes, you just clone, you replace your production table, yeah.
You passed this interview. My questions are finished. But I would like to turn it over to you.
I'm curious how you see your effort or effort of your team will impact what key metrics you're trying to impact, and does it tie to objective key result or how the companies measure their business plans? And how many data engineers you have in your data team? Because you mentioned you have like around like 18 people. And then you mentioned the collaboration from data engineering with ML engineer. How does it look like? How the next round looks like? Have a good rest of the day.